So thank you everyone for joining. Sorry, we're starting a couple minutes late. We're having a few technical difficulties with our expert speaker, but we appreciate you taking the time to join us today for our February travel talk. My name is Megan Howard. I am the Director of Sales here at Shorts Travel, and I'm going to kick things off for our call today. For those of you who don't know what a travel talk is, these are brief webinars we hold monthly, really focused on educating you on various hot topics in the industry. And a few of our sessions will include shameless promotions on our services and products we provide here at Shorts. Our travel talk is typically the last Tuesday of the month, like today, around lunchtime, depending on where you are in the world. There'll be 30 minutes or less, and we'll keep the last 5 minutes or so open for questions. Feel free to submit the questions at any time, and I'll be monitoring them as we go as well if it seems applicable based on what we are talking about. So with that, I'm eager to bring you Transforming Your Corporate Travel Ground Program with Lyft. Ride sharing has continued its monumental growth in 2017 as a billion-dollar industry, becoming a daily part of consumers' transportation needs, especially for those traveling on business. So I was just reading last week a new travel report from Certify talking about how, which is an expense management company, talking about how that in 2017 of the 50 million receipts reported on, ride-sharing companies accounted for 68% of overall ground transportation expenses. So companies' ability to incorporate ride-sharing into their managed travel program is more critical than ever before. So today our experts include Sam Plunkett, who you heard me get through some of the technical difficulties, who's with Lyft. And he's going to talk about how Lyft is creating commute, event, and courtesy ride solutions that provide corporate clients with tools they need to reduce costs, save time, and streamline their transportation programs. And then also joining us from Shorts Travel is Clyde Dix, who's our product manager, and he's going to be sharing some insights into how we're looking at incorporating Lyft through Shorts booking tool within our online booking solution, STO, as well as sharing the Lyft data in our reporting. So with that, Sam, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Great. Thank you, Megan and Clyde and Shorts for the time. And thanks everyone for joining the webinar. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but hopefully everybody can hear me okay. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to ask them on the chat. And if it makes sense, I'll try to pause and go through those then. But if you have any questions after, we'll leave some time for that, or you can feel free to follow up with me directly. Real quick, you just mentioned the growth of ride sharing, and this is a slightly outdated report. I think Megan had the latest numbers, but it's clearly increasing in terms of the number of employees that are using it and expensing it. And so we can see the trends going upwards, and we really want to work with companies to help them manage these programs, right? It's great if employees are using it and they like it, but it's even better if travel managers are able to actually integrate it into the rest of their travel program, get some insight and reporting and support to really make sure this is a successful part of their program. You can go to the next slide, please. So many of you are probably familiar with Lyft and ride sharing as a consumer business. We do have an entire team dedicated to Lyft Business. And that's really, as Megan mentioned, helping organizations of all types leverage our tools, our programs, and our support team to launch different programs that make sense for the people that they care about. And that can be your employees who are going on corporate travel. It can be candidates who are coming in for interviews. It can also be patients. So we do a lot of work in the non-emergency medical transportation space and a number of other solutions. So we're continuing to find new ways to work with companies and look forward, hopefully, to working with some of you on your programs. So again, this was mentioned before. We have a number of different solutions, and these are kind of four of the top buckets that we have. I think for a lot of people on the call today, travel and really that corporate travel of going to meetings and events, going to another city, and needing to have ground transportation either to and from the airport and the hotel, but also around town once you're going to and from those meetings. We also have an events portal and solution. We have a team that works specifically on events and code-based programs. We also have a number of companies that are leveraging our courtesy ride programs. So for instance, this could be for customers, right? If you want to send them off from your office, in style, you can call a ride for them. A number of businesses are also using this either for customers or to move their employees around. So there's some great examples of, just ways that companies are able to create efficiencies by leveraging Lyft. And then the last one, there's the last one was commuting, which, it depends on whether this is within the travel manager purview, but also work with a lot of HR and people teams that want to come up with different solutions to get their employees to and from the office. Sometimes that's first mile, last mile, so just getting to and from a transit hub. There's a lot of ways that you can leverage Lyft, and just getting in touch with our team and exploring some of those use cases is a great start. So a couple of quick bullet points on the Lyft difference and ways that you can get benefits from leveraging the Lyft Business platform. I think the first one is one of the most obvious ones, the cost savings. I mean, you can just see this when you take rides. When I'm based in San Francisco, when I take a ride from the San Francisco airport to my house or to our Lyft headquarters, it's around $35. If I take a taxi, it tends to be around $65 to $70. So right there, you can see 50% savings just in using a Lyft instead of a taxi. And you can imagine that the black car rates can lead to even more savings there as well. It doesn't always make sense to take a Lyft. And I think, if you're on a 3-day trip and you're driving all over the place, maybe renting a car does make sense. But I think there's a lot of use cases where if you just shift over the existing spend to Lyft, you're going to see some large cost savings there. And I do want to mention that our Lyft Business tools and support are free. So we do not charge anything additional. There are small exceptions for different types of tools and programs that we have, but for the most part, there's no additional cost. There's no platform fee for using Lyft Business and accessing your portal. Within that portal, as a travel manager and administrator, you get access to this central dashboard. You can invite employees, but you can also see rides. So you can dig into a specific ride and understand, how that ride was taken, where it was taken to, was it within policy? But you can also download reports on a monthly basis if you need to do any reporting or reconciliation. And we know insurance and safety and duty of care always comes up. And we think there's a lot of value that you can gain in those efforts with Lyft Business. So we do have $1 million insurance on every ride, and that's nationwide. So when you're working with different, taxi companies, or you're just allowing your employees to use a taxi or black car, those insurance levels might differ by state or region or, just by company based on how many you're working with. But there's $1 million insurance on every Lyft ride, so you can feel secure there. We also have background checks for all of our drivers. The background checks, I believe, are the same ones that the FBI is using. I think that's Sterling background checks. We have a two-way rating system, so if you ever have a bad experience with a driver, you'll, one, never be paired with them again, but two, those drivers need to maintain a high rating in order to stay on the platform. So it's a really important way for us to maintain, that people are having good experiences when they're on Lyft. And then if you need to find an employee, say there's an event that happened in a city and you want to find exactly where this employee was last dropped off, we have GPS tracking and really tracking on almost any event that happens in the app. So you can leverage a lot of that technology too, if you need to locate anybody. And then the last one is really around employee benefits. So keeping employees happy is always an important piece. So it's really easy for them to use Call a Ride whenever they need it. We have expense integration, so they can make it really easy to expense their rides. And then there are special incentives too. Through our partnership with Shorts, if any company signs up, then we'll have enrollment incentives. So any employee that enrolls in their business profile, essentially the company's program, will receive a personal credit. And that's not something that we necessarily offer to all companies, but definitely all the Shorts clients. So it's been great working with them on that. There also are loyalty partnerships, so you can get Sky Miles from Delta once you link your account, and also JetBlue points. And there was actually an article that just got released today, and we're continuing to roll this out, but our Lyft Business rewards. So I think right now the offer is every 5 rides over $10, you get $5 in personal credit. And why that's important for you as a travel manager, not only keeping the employees happy, but it is really going after the adoption. If we can get adoption for the program, that's when you're going to see the cost savings that I referenced earlier. So we want to be here to help you be successful in launching and managing your program and getting that adoption and those cost savings.
So Sam, I think you answered this earlier, but we had a question pop up whenever you were talking about the Lyft Business tools and support are free. And someone said they heard the competitors charge a 10% platform fee. Is that something that you don't have? Is that what you were saying? Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to fully speak to what somebody else's offer is, but we have heard and seen that there is a 10% platform fee on our biggest competitor. We do not have a platform fee. There was one tool I was referencing that is for essentially those customer rides. It's our concierge platform. Which is a very specific use case that we will have fees just to make sure we can maintain that product and some of the operational challenges around it. But the Lyft Business portal and everything that I think everybody on the call here today would leverage, there are no additional fees. We just want to help you be successful in managing your program.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I can't see those questions, so if any others pop up, just feel free to let me know.
Yep.
Okay, so here, this is really as an administrator, your Lyft Business portal. As you can see, you can manage your employees. So you can invite them, but you can also manage permissions. There are a number of different types of permissions that you can give. Some of the easy ones are, you might want to set up a direct bill account where certain employees can charge against a central card, but you may not want that for all of your employees. So you may only give access to certain employees to charge against that card. As I mentioned before, you can dig into ride details to see, where was somebody picked up and dropped off? Were they, did they put in their expense code in their expense note? And then you can download those reports too if you want to do it on a more aggregate level. So really, once you're looking to get signed up on Lyft Business, takes about 10 minutes. I'll walk through that later in the presentation, and then you'll have instant access to this portal. Yeah, and we just had a question from Stephanie on the Shorts Lyft incentive. So this is a personal credit to the employee when they enroll in a business profile. So through the portal, you're able to invite them to create their business profile, and they'll be part of your program. So they just fill that out with their work email address, and they will receive a personal credit to help, incentivize them to adopt the program. And that is available to all business profile, all clients of Shorts. If they already have a business profile, Stephanie just followed up, we don't actually have another incentive there, but we constantly run different campaigns based on different behaviors that we're trying to accomplish with the administrators. So that might be something like take a couple rides within this month, or link your expense account and take a ride, and you can get incentives there as well. Hopefully they can find enough from the Delta, the JetBlue, and then that business rewards program that I mentioned as well there. So on this slide, just real quick, this is essentially what the employees will be using. So they can have on the business profile, it's linked to their work email. So all receipts will go to that work email. Just makes it easier to separate your personal and your business rides. You can set default payment options. So you may have a individual corporate card that you want to use for your business rides, or your travel manager may have given you access to that central card. So that's something that you can put there as a default. You can also link your expense account. So we have 8 different partners, including Concur, Expensify, Certify, and Chrome River, and there's 4 others. So that will essentially just create an expense for every business ride that the employee takes, and all they need to do is add that to a report and submit it. And then again, as I mentioned, we have some special Lyft incentives, and those are, we're constantly trying out different structures on what behavior, we're able to drive with the travel managers, but there are some incentives for people who have that business profile, so it's great to at least set it up. Okay, so yeah, I just want to walk real quick through how to get set up on Lyft. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, or you want to review different programs or ideas, and we're more than happy to do that, and want to provide you with a way to get in touch with our team. But just to see how easy it is, you can sign up for Lyft Business at any time at no cost, and just get access to the portal, look around in there. Get a feel for it, and we can always follow up with more information or how to really leverage the portal. But if you go to lyft.com/business and get started, you'll essentially claim your business account. So you'll put in your work email, you'll verify that you own that email, and then you can start to claim the account for your business. You can also add other administrators. So if there are other people that you want to have access to add employees as they join the company, or deactivate employees as they leave the company, that's something that you can set up as well. So here is just a quick internal email that we recommend sending to your employees before inviting them through the portal. So when you send this, you can give some explanation on the fact that you're partnering with Lyft, and you want your employees to be able to use the business profile, how to set up that business profile, and then what some of the advantages are. So you can link out to some of the loyalty partnerships that we have, so to make it easy for employees to link their accounts. And the same thing for expense. So if you have a certain expense partner, that's one of the 8 that we integrate with, then just make it easy for them to write on their business profile and make expensing easy. So if you can send this, we can provide the template, but if you can send this to your team before inviting them through the portal, we see a big bump in adoption through that process. Once you get onto the portal, at least from my perspective, I like to decide whether or not I want to have a direct bill account. So you can go down to payment. There's a couple of different ways to get to it, but essentially just deciding, do I want any of my employees to have access to a central card? You can require expense notes and codes. So if you want to have any ability to reconcile where those go to, you can have the employees enter those, and then they will be on the reports that you can download as well. And then once you've decided that, you go to the people page, and you essentially just either copy paste in the work emails of the employees, or you can upload a CSV of just the email addresses. And you can download a sample CSV just to see what that looks like. And you can also see a preview on the right there. It just says, send me a preview of what your employees will see in that email. If you're a large company that has a lot of firewalls, and you may want to actually whitelist some of the Lyft IP domains, but that's up to you and something that we can work with you on. If you look below, there is that permissions tab and it says direct billing. It might say auto pay at some point soon, but this essentially is the way that you can group individuals and invite them to access that direct billing, that centrally built card. So you could upload one list and say, hey, this is my management team. I want them to have access to this central card. But then I want to upload another list. And this group, I'm actually not going to toggle that on because I want them to go through the normal expensing process.
Hey, Sam, we had a quick question about credit card reconciliation. And if when a transaction is reported, if it says Lyft Business versus Lyft as a way to potentially differentiate personal rides versus approved business rides. I don't know if you know the answer to that or not, but.
That's really interesting. Let me talk with the team. I don't believe that is the case now, but it's something that we're looking into. How can we leverage more of the credit card transaction data to make this easier for employees and travel managers to reconcile? So let me follow up there, but it's not a current setting that we have right now.
Okay, thanks.
So here's just a quick example of what you can see, on a specific ride, right? So if you needed to, if there were any suspicious rides or you just wanted to get a better understanding of how people are using it, you can get a full breakdown of the ride, the expense code, and the expense note. And then when you go to the next slide, it's that's okay. So yeah, you can access the reporting like this, or if you go down to the tab that just says reports right below rides, you can download those monthly reports. And if you have any other requests, if there are other types of reports that you're really interested in seeing, our team is happy to help in generating those. But typically, most clients are able to get what they need through the reports tab. Then I think there was one quick question. Interested in scheduled rides that an admin may want to set up for a traveler, interviewee, contractor, or guest. So that is actually the concierge platform that I mentioned. You can see a little tab on there under reports that just says concierge. And this is a web-based platform that allows dispatchers to call rides for other people. You can schedule those rides. But I would be slightly careful with scheduling rides just because it is, I would say think about where the person's getting picked up and if the timing is precise enough to schedule that ride. For Lyft, the drivers tend to wait. I think the limit is typically right around 3 to 5 minutes. So you want to make sure that if you're scheduling a ride to the airport, that you know exactly when that person's going to be, at a specific terminal and door number. If they need to pick up their bags and maybe use the restroom or grab a bite to eat, then it might not be best to schedule that ride. However, we do have a number of other solutions that you might be able to take advantage of, for example, for an interviewee that might be traveling through an airport. And that can be some of the codes programs that I talked about before. So definitely get in touch with our team, Stephanie, and we're more than happy to find some solutions to those different use cases.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. So now I'm going to send it over to Clyde to talk a little bit more about how Shorts Travel and Lyft Business is integrating.
Hi, can you hear me, Megan?
Yep.
Great. I'm going to be showing you two slides. The first is from the traveler's perspective or the travel arranger's perspective, and it's just bringing some data to the point of sale. You'll see in the top in the pink that we're able to take the data that we're mining from Lyft and aggregating it and bringing it onto this page so that the travel arranger can have a look at rental car options, for example, the vendors along the top, the type of class vehicle down the side, and consider whether they would be willing to use Lyft at whatever price we're able to get from the data. They can sort on the left-hand side by car types, by vendors, etc. And if they're wanting to pursue rental appointment, they can go ahead and click on a button and continue the booking normally. Or if they choose to go with Lyft, they can click on the pink button and go ahead and arrange a Lyft ride a little bit later. This is just one example of what we're doing. We have the best and brightest minds at Shorts looking at the data and trying to come up with creative ways that make the most sense to the travel arranger as they're going through the booking. And then the second slide, if you'll switch for us, Megan. The second slide is from the travel manager's point of view. So they log into the portal and they're able to take a look at some reports. What we're trying to do is come up with reports that make sense, that give the travel manager some insight into perhaps the one-day average for different rental car vendors compared to Lyft, and the 3-day average, etc. They can take a look at a particular city or nationwide and come up with some data that gives them some insight into what their travelers are experiencing and what they're paying for shared rides. So we're just very excited to be able to be looking at this data, working with Lyft and coming up with new ways to find information that's going to make it very useful for people as they go through the booking process. Are there any questions about this? I see something in the chat here. No, okay.
I don't think any have popped up, but if anyone does have any questions, feel free to send them in. We do only have about a minute left, so if something pops up in the next minute, but I'm going to go ahead and sum it up for us today. I appreciate everyone taking the time to join us. You can download today's slide deck by visiting our website, as you can see here listed at the bottom. And then you can also reach out to our team at Shorts if you have any questions. And then Sam, here's his email address. And I think you had some additional ways to best reach out and contact Lyft. You're muted.
Yeah, so I'd say reach out to me for now. You can also work with your account manager at Shorts, and they can get in touch with our team just to make it a little bit easier and include them in those communications. But feel free to reach out to me and I'll find the best person for you to work with.
Perfect, thank you. So also stay on the lookout for our next travel talk. It's scheduled for March 27th at the same time, last Tuesday of every month at noon Central. So a special thank you to Sam and Clyde and everyone for joining us for our travel talk today, and have a great afternoon.